Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with a wrap-up video for our Playing on a Budget. I think this deck performed pretty well. The mirror was a little bit rough there, but you can see that, I mean, it's a mirror. That basically comes down who draws the most Hordeling Outbursts is the victor there. But a little bit of a rough matchup that game one, but after that, we really punished any sort of 3-color or above strategy. Don't even know what that third deck was. I'm thinking it's a 5-color Dragons deck. But just sort of, if you were to upgrade this deck, what I would suggest would be going into kind of like the last opponent and going with the Atarka's command. And then, so you want Wooded Foothills and Atarka's commands. And this allows all of your Hordeling Outbursts and Dragon Fodders to be so threatening, as you saw in that last game. Just like 5 guys out, just a Hordeling Outburst and Dragon Fodder can be 10 damage, would be 13 damage with an Atarka's command. And Atarka's command is very good against Siege Rhino, Nihili's Disciple, any other way that they are planning on gaining life. You can prevent them from gaining that life, and then another way to do 3 damage to the face is very good. So it would replace cards like Obelisk of Urd and Hall of Triumph. The Atarka's command also gives a bit of padding against the Circle of Flame type decks. And then you wouldn't be necessarily going the Goblin route, so you can cut out the Frenzied Goblins. Actually, we did get to see where Frenzied Goblins were pretty good, though. But I think Goblin Heelcutter just gets the nod over Frenzied Goblin, although it is another 1-drop. Another card that you could definitely put in here is a Zurgu, Bell Striker, as it is a 2/2 for 1, and the dash is actually very relevant, as you saw in those control matchups. And then, basically, I think that's the list, is you put in a few more Goblin Rabblemasters, Heelcutters go to the sideboard, Atarka's command go to the main board, and you cut out the Frenzied Goblins for Zurgus and a few more Lightning Berserkers, and maybe another Wild Slash, and that's basically the deck list of the Pro Tour champion. And very, very good deck against control-based decks. It's decent against mid-range. Even against Siege Runner decks, they can stumble on all the comes-and-play tap lands. And a lot of times they can't be blocking with their Sylvan Caryatids, as you can get the Swiftspear up to a 3 quite easily. And they need that Sylvan Caryatid to ramp them. So you also have, like, sideboard, again, against that type of strategy, you have the Roast. They can take out both Siege Rhinos and Corsair Crewfix. So all in all, this is a very solid deck. It's a way for new player to be introduced to Standard on a very, very small budget. Like, you could even go back to the old 37 1-drop, and I think that'd be even more budget, because that way you don't even need the Rabblmasters or even Stoke the Flames. You can go cut this down to easily a 20-ticket deck if you're just relying on cards like Foundry, Denizen, Akron Crusader, Dragon's Mantle. There's also the enchantment where they can't block. +1/+1 can't block. Anyway, just go back to that old one, and I think that'd be a little bit better to introduce someone into a red deck wins deck for very low budget. But if you're looking to upgrade a deck, I think this is the right starting point. Because if you buy the Foundry Denizens, you buy the Lightning Strikes, you buy the Dragon Fodders, you buy the Hordeling Outbursts, those aren't going to be replaced. Those are not going to be cards that can be upgraded. And you can even go Lightning Berserkers as the initial investment. So for a 20-ticket deck, you would have that starting point, and then when you get the money for the Stoke of the Flames and the Rabblmasters, etc., then you can find, as you get them, they can upgrade your deck. So that's why I would suggest this type of strategy over the 37 1-drop, the Akron Crusader list, as I do think the potential of this deck is a little bit higher with the Atarka's command, rather than going the Dragon's Mantle type route. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Again, I apologize to the people that are sick of mono red decks. It's not my play style whatsoever either. I am more of a synergistic player, and I try to make this as synergistic as possible by utilizing Obelisk of Urd and Hall of Triumphs and whatnot, and going the Goblin type strategy. But this isn't how. There's 2 archetypes I don't like to play personally. One is all out aggro, and the second is control, like very, very stall control type strategies. And I try to avoid those, as, I mean, they're both very linear. People will argue with me until they're red in the face about how control isn't linear, but I think control is one of the most linear strategies ever. Pretty obvious a lot of times there is some decision making to be made in control, but I wouldn't say that it's any higher than even like a mono red deck. And in this type of strategy, there's a lot of times the obvious choice is the obvious choice, and there's not a lot of decisions to be making. And not a lot of creativity has to really go into the deck building process, which is one of the things that I get the most out of Magic the Gathering, is coming up with an idea and then working out the kinks in that deck and playtesting it till I feel that I have a completed deck. Now, what's funny with me is usually when I finally do have a competitive deck, that's when I throw it away and start from scratch with a new deck. So that's kind of my bane. One of the reasons why it's probably going to keep me out of a lot of competitive play. Doing well at competitive play is it takes me a while to find that deck, and by the time I find that deck, then I'm bored of it and don't even want to play it at the Grand Prix or the PTQ. I want to play something new. So anyway, I'm going to go back to, we're going to do Mono Blue Devotion next week, but after that I'm going to try to find some creative decks to brew for playing on a budget. Anyway, this has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com and GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.